Posted by you/past professional 384. I, 27F, have been with my fiancé, John, 28M, since high school. We dated and broke up because his mother, Debbie, 53F, convinced him we were too young to be in love. We went our separate ways and attended college. During my sophomore year, we started talking on social media again. He apologized and said he missed me, and we got back together. Cue the waterworks. Debbie literally cried the first time she saw that we were back together and told John that I must have done witchcraft on him. I've always respected Debbie because of my upbringing and my mother's teachings. I was raised not to argue with elders, but she definitely takes advantage of that. Since John and I got back together, she has tried to set him up with women from her church, her workplace, and even her friends' daughters. John rejects all of them, but Debbie says that I'm controlling him. John has told her to stop, but not in a way that I feel gets the message across. Anyway, 3 months ago, John proposed. Debbie didn't come to the engagement party. Cool, whatever. She didn't attend the family dinner we held so both sides could meet. Cool, whatever. John's dad did come and apologize for his ex-wife's behavior. He left her when John graduated high school. I told him not to worry about it. The problems really started when John decided to confront his mother about her behavior toward our engagement. This seemed to finally make him realize how much she's interfering, as he's always tried to brush it off, and told me to do the same. She gave him a sob story about how she got pregnant with him before marriage, never had a proper wedding, and now feels triggered by our situation. She had a shotgun wedding at the courthouse. When he asked her what she needed to feel comfortable, she said she'd feel better if she wore white and I wore soft pink or lavender. For some reason, my fiancé thought this was a fair compromise. He also said, didn't ask, that his mom could walk me down the aisle so she could have her moment in her dress. I told him absolutely not. We got into an argument about it. I told him it's crazy that he'd argue with me to defend his mom's honor but wouldn't do the same for me. He accused me of being petty and selfish. It got pretty bad. We've agreed to cool off for now, but based on how heated it got, I could tell we both almost decided to call the wedding off. Now, things are weird. I love John, but I'm starting to see how much he lets his mom influence our lives. I can just imagine her sitting at home with this evil grin, knowing she's driving a wedge between us, while John remains putty in her hands. I'm seriously considering calling off the wedding. Am I overreacting? Or is it really just about the color? Update 1 day later. Hey everyone, I'm not sure if this is the update everyone wanted, but here's what happened since my last post. John came home remorseful. He told me he had been anxious about the situation and had brought it up to a coworker/friend, mentioning how I didn't want to compromise. Apparently, his friend, God bless his soul, went off on him about how cringy he was being. This angered me, so, when I say something, it's a problem, but when another man tells him, he suddenly sees the other side. I brought up my talking points. 1. Him being easily manipulated. This was proven when I said he would listen to whatever another man said before listening to his partner. Even though his friend agreed with me, it hurt that John didn't listen to me. 2. His mom's effort to break us up with this ridiculous request. He was far more open to this theory now, knowing how cringy he looked even mentioning the situation to someone else. I compared it to a father removing a bride's wedding garter. He got the point. 3. Agreeing to his mom's crazy request without talking to me first. He claimed he didn't agree but told her he would see how I felt about it and then brought it up to me. I asked him why he didn't realize that his mother walking down the aisle on his wedding day was extremely creepy. He said it was just a dress in his eyes, and he didn't want his mom to miss the wedding. I told him there would be no wedding if he didn't straighten up. He said he understood. 4. His mom's blatant hatred for me. She didn't even ask to wear white alongside me, which would still be weird. Instead, she insisted that I not wear white at all, as if I were some impure WHRE, thanks Reddit, because I hadn't even thought of that one. He said he didn't see it that way, he just knew she hadn't been showing up because she claimed seeing me in white upset her. So I said, do you not hear your own mom saying she wants to be the bride herself? That she can't stand it being me? Finally, it looked like a light bulb went off in his head. And 5. What role his mom would play in our wedding, childbirth, Mother's Day, and other milestones to come. I asked if I would always come in second place. He assured me I wouldn't and admitted how badly he had messed up. He said he was just trying to keep the peace. I asked, by always making her happy and making me miserable? I refused to live my life this way. He agreed, apologized, and said he wouldn't want me to be miserable. We have no children yet, but we created a plan for dealing with major milestones. His mom won't be involved unless I'm comfortable with it, and I won't be unless she does a complete 180. When I asked him what his mom said to change his mind, it was exactly what you all guessed, she cried. She cried about her baby being taken away from her, how she never got her wedding, how his dad left her and she was alone, and how she just wanted to experience a real wedding before she dies. She's perfectly healthy unless there's something we don't know. I told him that if this manipulation was enough to sway him, what's to say he won't turn on me again? He said his friend and dad talked sense into him about how he was going to lose me. I told him today was his last chance and gave him 4 conditions to stay engaged to me, if he even cared to. 1. Go low contact with his mom and do not let her make any decisions about our wedding, which will be postponed another year to see if he sticks to his word. 2. Attend counseling, both individual and couples therapy. 3. Speak to his mom about her behavior toward me, with me present, because every time he goes alone, he comes back with an excuse for why he let it go. And 4. Create strong boundaries and learn to uphold them. He agreed. Then came the hard part. I showed him the post. I felt bad as he read everyone ripping him to shreds in the comments. I could see how uncomfortable he was, especially when people called him a spineless mama's boy and made other remarks about his mom. He was hurt that I agreed with comments suggesting I should leave. He read for a few minutes until someone called him a spineless "see you next Tuesday" and then handed my phone back. He said the comments were harsh but acknowledged they showed how insane the situation sounded, even if he had just been trying to keep the peace. Reading the post was the final wake-up call for him. He said seeing everyone telling me to leave physically hurt him because he knew he deserved it. We called his dad, whom I'm no longer calling my future father-in-law because I'll call off this wedding tomorrow if John doesn't have my back when we speak to his mom. John's dad, Dan, I'll name him because he's a big part of this update, also gave John a reality check. Dan was relieved John had decided to get his act together. We agreed to go to Debbie's house tomorrow with Dan and John's aunt. My dad is tagging along. John said he would tell his mom that, under no circumstances, can she make our wedding about her. He also said that if she cries or tries to guilt-trip him, he will go no contact with her. I feel terrible because getting a man to stop talking to his mother wasn't something I ever thought I'd want. I doubt Debbie will come around, especially not tomorrow with all of us against her. I don't know if John will backtrack once we get there. I've explained that if he doesn't grow his spine, I'm leaving. He can either marry me or marry his mom. That's my ultimatum. He says he chooses me. We'll see, I guess. This should make me happy, but I still feel icky. I'll update tomorrow after we talk to Debbie. Second update 1 day later. Hey everyone, I'm back with the last update. Some people reached out to disrespect me. I honestly don't care if you don't believe my story or find me annoying, but messaging me to call me names, be disrespectful, and or say I shouldn't wear white to my own wedding is classless. I won't respond, and I genuinely hope you all get the help you need for whatever trauma makes you that much of an angry person. To all the people who have reached out with positive vibes and advice, thank you so much. Anyway, John and I met up after work, and we headed to pick up Dan. John's aunt couldn't make it. My dad was meeting us there. I had really bad anxiety. I told Dan and Dad they should give us a few minutes before knocking so she doesn't feel ambushed. They agreed. We get to Debbie's. My heart feels like I'm going up the world's tallest roller coaster slowly. John is quiet. We get there, and he gives her a firm but respectful "Hey Mom." We sit down, and John tells her we came to talk to her. She asked, "What's wrong?" John got right into it. He bluntly told her that her actions toward me over the years have been petty and that her not showing up for any of our wedding events was unacceptable to him. He flat out asked her why she has a problem with me. I genuinely thought he was going to start with the dress situation, but he went straight for the root of it all. Debbie acted like she had no idea what he was talking about. She has actively tried to get him to cheat on me or leave me for other women, but in that moment, she was shocked and didn't know where this was coming from. She said she has no problems with me and loves me like a daughter. She looked at me like she expected me to talk, but like I said to you all, I wanted to see what John had to say. He asked her to be honest and listed all the times he recalled her insulting me to my face and behind my back. He mentioned that she also tells him he could do better every time I'm not around. This was news to me, but am I shocked? No. Deb was livid. She genuinely couldn't believe he outed her like that. She started going off on him, calling him disrespectful and saying he was disrespecting his own mother for an outsider. She kept saying, "I know she made you do this. I know she's the one making you disrespect me like this." John was trying to reason with her and get her to calm down. I texted Dan and my dad to come in. Once they were inside, Deb became a different person. She was startled, as she wasn't expecting them, and then all the things she had just said went out the window. She turned to Dan and my dad and said John walked in and just started yelling at her because of me. My dad looked at me, and I shook my head no. Once Dan and Dad came in, everything was calmer for a little while. She went back to denying that she didn't like me. They all told her that it was obvious and that the dress request was shameful of her. She immediately replied that it's shameful I won't let her son spend time with her. John said that's not true. At this point, I'm burning inside. I wanted to correct all of her inaccuracies, but I stayed quiet. John asked her, "What's the real issue with Op?" Deb started saying how she knew I was going to be an issue since we were in high school. She said that once John got with me, his grades started dropping, which isn't true, that he stopped making time for family, also not true, that he once didn't show up to celebrate Mother's Day with her because of my birthday is in April, Mother's Day is in May, and that once we got back together, he forgot about her completely because I made him abandon her. He goes to her house a minimum of 3 times a week. She said the fact that we had the engagement party without checking how she felt about it was wrong and all the evidence she needed to see what kind of woman I am. My dad pointed out that she didn't pay for the engagement dinner to have any input on it. Dan asked her what she was thinking, asking to wear white at our wedding, and why she's so hungry for attention. Her face turned red and she went off. She told Dan that maybe if he had properly married her and given her a real wedding, she wouldn't feel left out. Dan straight up called BS and said she didn't want to have a real wedding, even though he tried to convince her. The reason? Her mother told her pregnant brides are tacky. She started crying. I honestly felt a little bad for Debbie here. My dad got everyone to calm down. John finally spoke again and told his mom that he can't keep defending her when she won't even try to respect me. That for his sanity in our relationship, he's going low contact. Deb kept crying and said that John can't leave her for dead. She's the only mother he'll ever have. Mothers are forever, wives are not. I'm not even his wife yet, and I'm already tearing the family apart. He kept going. He told her that we are going to get married. If she can't respect me or stop crossing boundaries, she'll be cut off completely. That his visits are dropping down to once every 2 weeks and that she needs to call less. She started going off. She knew it, I'm doing something to him. What did I do to her son? I'm a manipulator and a problem. She told my dad he raised a demon. My dad shot back at her to watch her mouth. John kept shouting, Mom stop, but she kept screaming, and then she started hyperventilating. Whoever called it, you might be able to see the future. She was gripping John's arm, saying she couldn't breathe. This was when I said to myself, oh no, he's about to flip-flop. He looked at me, and I know he knew what I was thinking. John got her a cup of water, then asked his dad if he could make sure his mom was okay and asked my dad to take Dan home. Dan and Dad agreed, and his mom started crying louder. She literally screamed, I can't breathe, as we walked out so he could hear her. I felt terrible, and I finally spoke. I told John I'm sorry and that I understand if he felt bad. He said he knew she was faking it, but his instincts wanted to run over and make sure she was okay. I asked, are you? He said no but looked really sad about it. My dad walked out behind us. My dad has never seen this side of Deb, and neither have I. She's always been catty or shady toward me, but this was insane. My dad straight up told John that his mom needed help with her mental health. John said he's going to talk to his aunt about getting her help. We went home, and John cried. He said he cried because he watched his mom villainize him and tell others that he just walked in and verbally abused her. He said it reminded him of the times he would fight with his dad because his mom would say Dan would just come home from work and yell at her for no reason. I guess it was déjà vu for him. He was silent after she said that, so I believe it struck a nerve with him. He decided to go no contact for now. I did ask him if he was okay with me posting this part, and he said yes. Before we went to Deb's house, I called a couple of counselors in our area to check availability, and our first couples therapy session is next month. It's a little while away. He called his provider today to check for a therapist within his insurance and got an appointment for himself for the 23rd. The ball is rolling, and John seems like he's on the same page as me. I know this is weighing on him, though. Dan called us and let us know he got Deb to calm down. He said he spoke to her as best as he could about her harming her own relationship with John, but she didn't want to hear it. Thank you, Reddit. I really didn't expect this to blow up like this. The advice and well wishes I got from this were so overwhelming, in a great way. While I should be happy, something about it all just makes me feel down. I hope that Debbie gets better and we can one day have her in our lives. Something about that comment about her mother made me hurt for little Debbie. Hopefully, one day I'll get to hear her stories. Now I'm going back to my regular life, and hopefully, I won't ever have a dramatic update for you guys again.